Hello and welcome everyone to another CTC Software webinar. Let's go ahead and get started. So today we are going over cloud shared licensing and everything there is to know about it. So one of the biggest changes that we've made, and some of you may already have seen this, is that we have changed our website drastically. And one of those big changes was the addition of our new cloud shared licensing engine. And what this does is it basically just greatly enhances the ability to provide your users with a license to any of our tools without requiring, an active VPN connection or having them be in the office, for that matter. As long as they have access to the internet and they have proper permissions in the portal, they can get a license to and there's a license available, for that matter. They can get a license to the tools. So having the ability to manage your licenses from a web interface that provides a clear understanding of who and when users are accessing their tools is extremely powerful and extremely useful. So in this webinar, we are going to highlight all of the tools required to activate cloud shared licensing and kind of how to manage that, how to control it, and then how to obtain a license within the application itself. So today, what is cloud shared licensing, or CSL, as what you'll sometimes hear us call it? We'll navigate the portal, kind of direct you to how to get to the licensing tab, show you what some of the how to identify what's a cloud shared license versus what is a traditional network or standalone license, how to set it up, create users, create your groups, how to allocate those licenses to said users or groups, how to take them away from everyone if need be, or how to free up licenses if needed for an emergency use case, and then obviously how to access it from the applications themselves. So first thing we want to do today is define what is cloud shared licensing. Cloud shared license effectively gives you a license management tool in the cloud. So we have, and are built into our new CTC Software website, is your license management tool. So it's no longer using Reprise or RLM, similar to how Autodesk had their FlexNet license manager. We've taken that away, or we are taking that away and building it into our web interface. And it's not named users like what Autodesk is doing or what some other major software companies are doing. It's still a pool of licenses. So it's very similar to how a network license would work. If first come, first serve, if there's a license available and you invoke a tool, you're going to get a license. If there's nothing available, you got to wait. You'll get a message saying there's no license available. Very similar to how we set up Hive and how our licensing system in Hive works, with the exception being Hive is a named user interface. The rest of our cloud shared licensing is not. So there's a slight difference there. And obviously it's built into the new portal and our new website. So this is a fairly new feature. So it only functions with our 2023 products and everything moving forward. So if you still are on the 2022 whatever build of Project Suite or Manager Suite or anything prior to that, you're not going to have access to our cloud shared licensing. So what I typically like to do is just kind of show you live. I don't like doing PowerPoints and whatnot. So in the live demo today, we're going to navigate the portal, show you where everything is, show you some of these licensing controls, how to manage your users and groups, and manage the licenses themselves. So let's just kind of get into it then, huh? So the first thing we'll do is we'll go to our website. So for those of you that haven't seen this yet, we got a revamped website. We've taken all of the various little websites that we had for Hive and for our CTC, and we just merged everything together into one big software website portal thing. And so, a lot of this looks like a traditional website. To get to the portal itself, you need to log in and access it right here. This little profile icon guy is your login button or your portal button if you are already signed in. So in this case, I'm going to sign in, and we have two options here. We have a login option. Obviously, if you've got an account, you'll just log in. If you don't have an account yet and you are interested in going that route, you can register right here and get it all set up, and we get you away. If your company or your organization already has cloud licenses and you need access to some of those licenses, we know that just by you typing in your email address here. And if your company already has an account, we know that by the domain, and we will let your administrators know. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and log in. Here's my account. And I should also point out that this, as long as our website, our portal uses standard HTTP protocols. I think it's through port 443. So as long as that's open, this will just work. So we don't have any special restrictions built into this that would, take any customized firewall would block. So now that I'm in the portal, you can see I get a whole slew of tabs up here across the top. Many of these are tied to Hive, as some of you may know. If you don't have Hive, then your portal interface will look a little like this. So you'll have your dashboards, your users and groups, licensing, and support. So slightly different set of options, but same controls that we're going over today. Today we're focusing solely on the users and groups and the licensing tabs. So I'm going to hop back over to my master page here, and so now that we're here, let's check out the new licensing area. So if we click on the licensing tab, it will present you a list of everything that you own, or everything that you have tried, for that matter. So if you downloaded a trial and you set it up that way, it would show here, and it would tell you how many trial seats you had. If you own something, it will show here, obviously. So each, we got filters built in to make it easier to, kind of navigate around and pinpoint things based off the design application that the apps are tied to. Or you can just kind of get a global feel of everything that you guys have under the hood. So in this case, if we expand one of the tools, you'll see potentially a number of different things going on here. Specifically licensed, owned. It'll show you all the different, serial numbers or contracts that you've got with us for that particular app. In this case, I've got 2. And it'll tell you a little bit about what the serial number is in case you need it for your records, what the status is, unless maybe it's expired and you weren't aware of it. Contract information is start and end dates, so you know when your renewal time is up, how many licenses you actually have, and an option for auto renew. So the easiest way to tell the difference between a cloud shared license versus a standalone or network license will be in this auto renew column right here. If this allows you to toggle it on effectively, so with this blue line now it's on, that means it's a cloud shared license. We don't have auto renewal set up for the network or standalone licensing. So this is the quickest way to find out. Specifically with a standalone license, though, it will tell you up in here somewhere, I believe it's under your license type, that it is standalone. So that'll be the other obvious way to find out. But for me, this is just the quickest thing. Most of us have network licensing, so this is just a quick way to do it. And the only cloud shared licensing is the only thing that can be managed here. So if it's not a cloud shared license, you can see it, but there's not a whole lot you can do at that point. You still have to resort to the traditional ways of managing those licenses, whether it's through reprise or RLM or manual entry of your serial numbers. So when it comes to assigning your licenses, you get the option, as long as the users exist, you can assign licenses, and a couple of ways to do that. You can assign by a group, or you can assign by user. So, and I'll show you how to set those up in a second. We recommend assigning everyone or your licenses up by groups versus assigning them to each individual user. The reason for that is that it's a lot easier to assign it to a bundle of users in a group than it is each and every single user. So that workflow just works a little bit better traditionally. So if we bounce back, go to our users and groups tab, you have the option now to build each and every person in your company out. And there's a handful of ways to go about doing that. You can manually create them by clicking the plus sign and filling out the information necessary: first name, last name, email, and a password, right? I generally create a generic password like welcome1 or something along those lines, and then encourage all my users to change that. Once you've created it, the user themselves, you get to select their roles and what they may be a member of, depending on what they need to be doing. I'll just go ahead and fill this out quickly just to show you. And when you hit create and come back, I'll just edit me for the time being, you have the option to define roles and memberships. So if they're just base users and only going to be using the software, that's all you got to worry about. You have the option to give certain people admin roles if you'd like, to help manage the rest of the portal for you and the various, manage licensing or manage support tickets or the purchasing or users or what have you. So there's a lot of options to choose from here. You can also associate that particular user to a group here if you'd like. If your groups are already defined, you can go ahead and add them to this list here. Otherwise, you can always add them in the group area as well. So I'll just back up a second and jump into groups. By default, you will always have one group, no matter what. That group is the everyone group, and you'll know it's the default group that you get because it'll say default next to it, right? We build that for you, and automatically when you create new users, they will show up in the everyone group. Now you can rename it, call it whatever you want, but you can't get rid of it. So you might as well try to take advantage of it. So get everyone assigned to a group, and then you can take this group, pick the users that need to be there. Currently, I've got everyone in there already because that's what it's doing. And now I can assign the group to the products that this group of people needs to use. If you're a multidisciplinary firm, or you have multiple suites like a project suite and a manager suite, you can make groups for each type of user or maybe based on what apps they will be using. So you have your everyone group base level usage, project suite, casework, SuperDoor. Maybe your BIM managers, they get access then to your batch suite and your manager suite, and maybe data suite. So have a separate group of those type of individuals, assign those to those types of licenses. It makes it a lot easier to control who has access to what. And then if you have Hive, you can piggyback off the groups that you've already built for Hive and how you allocate those groups to license usage across, you can continue to pick up on that. You don't have to build specific groups for license usage that differ from your Hive library usage. You can if you want, but you don't need to. So now that I've got everything defined, once everything is defined, you can come back into licensing and assign accordingly. So for a BIM project suite, let's say, when I go to assign licenses, I want to make sure that the everyone group is there, right? That makes the most sense. It's a productivity tool. Everyone should have access to it. And so, which is great. Again, you can switch to the user tab if if it's just you or maybe you and your coworker, you can always add the two of you individually to this list. Works fine. Also easier just to add the group of both of you the everyone group. So again, it's up to you how you want to handle that. And then with the, say, data suite, I'm going to assign this license. Again, it's set to everyone. I kind of maybe don't want that. So I'm going to delete that and then come down in here and add my org admins only in this case. You know, data suite, very powerful tool. I only want a couple people actually using this app. So we're going to change the controls up a little bit for that one. So, and that's kind of on the surface, how you're going to manage this stuff, right? Build your groups, build your users, users to groups, groups to licenses. That's kind of the basic workflow for managing the licenses here in the portal, okay? Then it comes to how do we access it in the applications themselves, okay? Well, there's a couple of ways you can go about doing this. So let me jump into Revit or Civil. Revit, here we go. So with the tools installed, you can click any one of the darker shaded tools. So Manager Suite's dark blue, Project Suite's dark green, or the red for a super door. It's just got to be a darker shaded tool. Once you click on that, you're going to get your product and license information dialog box popping up. And it's going to say, we don't have a license. What do you want us to do? And you will select Cloud Shared and click Apply. Okay. And if it's the first time you've ever done this, you're going to get your sign-in window. And now the user that just did this has to sign in using the account that you set up for them. So, and then the beauty of this is once it's done, you're done. If you've got access to multiple tools, you're good to go. You don't have to know what else. It's the same account for everything. So it's a one and done kind of sign in. So if I now try my project suite, I'll go ahead and close this. Let's open up View Creator from the project suite. And it's opening up. I did have to hit apply here, but just to tell it which license type to use, but I don't have to sign in again. So that's it. Now, and that's I guess you could say, one of the manual ways of setting this up, right? Make the user define their account information or what license type they need to use, right? There's another way to do it. And if for any of you BIM admins or IT folks that are up on the call today, you may be more familiar with this route. And we did this with our network and standalone information. We have our license suite settings files, right? And these are found in our CTC licensing folder. You can still edit these text files and input the license type right here. Out of the box, it's either going to be blank or it'll say something like unknown because it doesn't know. All you have to do is type in Cloud Shared, and instantly the tools will know, hey, we're looking for a login. And if the user hasn't logged in yet, then they'll have to go ahead and log in, and that's it. They won't have to know which license type to choose from. They won't have to, guess at which button to click on. It just works. And again, if you've had Hive and you upgrade or migrate to a Cloud Shared license for Project Suite or Manager Suite or Batch Suite or Sim Project to Sim Manager, again, same thing. You fill this out, bundle it up into your install package, and you can deploy it to everyone, and they will then have access. Okay. So, and then inside of Civil, if we have any Civil users on the call today, very similar process. You open up one of the darker shaded tools, you get prompted with this, you'll select Cloud Shared and hit apply. If you had Hive, I've already signed in, we're good to go. Since it's the same license calls as with our Revit tools, I didn't have to sign in again, it's just already done. So same text file controls it. So it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy to manage. Then the last piece that I need to mention here is the revoking or the removal of a license from a particular person. Okay, so there are options built in here where if someone was using one of the tools and then they walked away, right? But they left it open on their machine. So I don't think I did that. So I'm going to do that again. If you leave the tool open and you walk away, like you still have the tool, like right, I've pulled a license. If I've only got a couple, I need to get that back somehow. So we have the ability to remove licenses from individuals. So you can see right here under our SIM project suite, it says Chris Bircher is using this license. Well, if I need to free that up for one of my colleagues or my boss needs to free it up to use it himself, he can pop in here and remove it, take it away from me. And you get a, in case you didn't mean to do it, you get a little pop-up warning. But basically, as doing this, now when I come back to try to use the app again, it's going to tell me I need to go get another license because someone took mine away. Or if one's available at that time, it'll just pick it right back up. So since there is licenses available, I'll just be able to keep on going at this point. But had there not been, it would tell me you lost your license and there isn't one available at this time. So pretty slick, pretty easy way to go about doing things. Again, thankfully, I don't have to worry about it because it's just me. But for the most part, that's it. That's everything. That's in a nutshell how this all is set up to work. To recap it, once you have access, starting from the home screen, you click this little guy to get into the portal, set up your users and groups, groups first, ideally, then you set your users and assign them to the group. Then you can jump to your licensing tab and add the groups to the licenses or add the users to the licenses. Pop into the apps, select Cloud Shared and sign in. So there's one final piece that I need to mention before we end today, and that is we are moving towards making Cloud Shared licensing our go-to. This will be the norm moving forward. As it stands today, we still have the ability to acquire all of our license types. If you haven't worked with us before and you purchase a brand new license from us, it will be a Cloud Shared license, just out of the box. That's the way it's going to be. As of May 1st of 2023, we will no longer be renewing standalone licenses. And a year from that, in 2024, we will no longer be renewing network licenses. And at that point, we will be full-blown Cloud Shared license, and there will be no more network license or standalone license. So keep that in mind moving forward in case there's a review period and you guys need to decide how you want to transition and migrate into the new system. Thankfully, it's a pretty easy transition. There's not a whole lot to it. We can deploy a text file, and that kind of takes care of a lot of the people. You can import your list of users. You can use Active Directory to help synchronize that information. And that's today. In a matter of weeks, we'll have single sign-on, and that will make things even easier. So that concludes the webinar for today. I want to thank you all for joining. I greatly appreciate you guys, and we look forward to seeing you guys on future webinars. Thank you much. All of you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and happy Thanksgiving.